Black man living in America, the thought and the practice of DEI programs and initiatives honestly makes me sad. And it makes me sad because as a kid growing up, whenever I did see someone Black in media, online, whatever it may be, I thought it was really cool. You know, I was being told that, it's a white world and the white man this, white man that, but seeing representation, seeing Black people in the spots that they were, it did something to me. I'm not gonna lie and say it didn't. It did make me feel something. It did make me feel motivated and inspired, and the list goes on. But now, with all these DEI initiatives and the things that are going on, it makes me sad seeing Black people all the time.
All right, so already hearing him say it made him sad to see so many Black people. I already know this is going into a direction I'm not going to like, but let's continue.
Because now I have to think to myself, are they there because they earned it? Or are they there because so-and-so or this company needs to meet their DEI quota? Now, when I see Black actors and Black billboards, I'm like, are you there for a reason? Are you there because you earned it? Like, genuinely, are you there because you earned it? Or are you there because of DEI and its push of we need more representation, we need more this, we need more that? When off the bat, thinking about it, if I only see Black people every now and again in media, that kind of makes sense given that Black people are 13% of the US population. There shouldn't be a reason why I go on TV or I go somewhere and people are trying to advocate so hard that everything is equal. Our own country isn't equal. Why am I seeing more Black and gay people on TV than I am seeing in real life? And I'm Black and gay. No one can lie and say that we haven't seen an influx of Black people in media, of gay people in media, of Black narratives, gay narratives. Even Target, we're gonna get into later, having their whole Black shows and Black businesses, Black cards. It's like everywhere I look, since the start of all this DEI stuff, I'm just seeing more Black, and you would think that makes me happier because of how.
Okay, it goes back to DEI, everyone thinking that means Black people. A few things. We already talked about it, but in my experience of working in HR and recruitment, the people that benefit the most from not meeting every requirement or preferred qualification and still getting the job are typically white people. And this is not a racial thing per se, 100%. And I'm going to explain. The majority of people in all of these corporations in the levels of leadership or authority that can say, hire this person, or put pressure on a hiring manager to say, hire my cousin, nephew, friend, neighbor's kid, whatever, tend to be white people. And so therefore, a lot of the time, this whole question of, oh, you're seeing a Black man in a role and you're wondering that they get this role just because they're Black. No, you should be asking that of any person. Did you ask a white person that you see in a role that you get this role because you happen to be white and maybe you know someone that works at the company and you maintained a relationship with someone who got you in the door via a referral program? No, we don't talk about referral programs that actually don't help people of different backgrounds at all. It tends to help your typical, white man, white woman. And I'm not here to say that, hey, referral programs are bad or it's bad that you got a job because you happen to know someone. I'm just saying that this is the current state of what's happening. And so for you as a Black man, and he does identify himself as a Black man for anyone is questioning, to say that you question other Black people in certain roles and wonder if they were a DEI hire, it makes me see that you don't really understand what these initiatives really promote. And personally, I don't think it benefits Black people as much as other groups. That's just my opinion. However, since I've worked in this space, I feel the need to talk about it because every conversation that I see is getting it wrong.
Happy it didn't make me seeing so many Black people growing up, but it did the opposite. It's quite disrespectful to say, no, instead of me earning the spot, actually I'm just going to give it to you because I need to meet my quota. I need to give it to you because we need to do something for Black people. I don't want that. I don't want this business just because they're Black. I want this business because they're a good business.
See, and that's the lie that's being told. That's not what's happening. And I think that since affirmative action and diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives are getting misconstrued, and oftentimes people just think it's the same thing. They think affirmative action, DEI just means Black. There is a history in this country of people being denied jobs, being mistreated in the workplace, being terminated once they've had a job, due to reasons that are beyond their qualifications. So this whole, let's make everything merit-based, that's what we would love. That's the reason for these programs, is because people were given the opportunity to hire based on merit. Instead of doing that, they tend to, and I'm speaking generally here, are there some good people in the world that try their best not to hire based on their biases? Yes, but even in your very best efforts, you have biases based on seeing a person due to their race, their gender, if you know their religion, or you assume their religion, you assume their ethnicity. There's a white man that I'll show in a clip here where he himself saw and experienced hiring discrimination based on people's names. He saw this himself as a white man. So many reasons. I mean, we could go down the line of things that aren't quote unquote protected classes nationally, like someone's weight, someone's hair being too long. Like, we do these things as people. We're constantly making judgments. Is it always a bad thing? No, because if I'm in the forest somewhere and I need to make judgments, I see a lion and I know based on history, lions can attack me, I need to run, right? That's going to save my life probably. Assumptions are not in itself bad. However, it's the fact that we unconsciously do these things based on our assumptions, our biases, based on what we've seen in media. Like, I could have never met, let's say, an Asian person in my life, but maybe I've seen some things in media that make me think a certain way about them. Does it make an impact on my decision to hire someone? Yes, it does for everyone. This has been proven. Harvard has done explicit studies on this. So we can't deny that this is not happening. So therefore, people are consciously and unconsciously discriminating in some way in their hiring practices. So how do we combat that even just a little bit? Well, we implement things to help people understand their biases, and we help broaden a pool of candidates to say, look at not just 10 white men, but all of these people are qualified, highly qualified, overqualified in a lot of cases. We're considering 5 other, right? And 5 white men that you would typically see. Now, you as a hiring manager, you make the determination on who you want on your team based on merit. That's not saying, hey, you have to hire this Black person who is unqualified and not the best person for the job, or we're changing all the qualifications. Again, in my experience, the only times I've ever seen qualifications for jobs changed are due to someone trying to get their own referral candidate through the door, and typically they are not people of color. They're not Black. Oftentimes they're either a white woman or white man, and this is just based on my experience with hiring. It's not calling out any particular company, but I've worked at a number of very large companies, mid-sized companies, smaller companies. These things happen. It's human nature, and it's happening heavily in this country. So anyway, I'm ranting. Let's go on.
I don't care who's behind the brand, unless the brand has something to do with me. For example, I would much prefer a Black person with black hair to make black hair products. It just makes sense to me, you know? So I wouldn't mind seeing that. I'm like, oh, that's cool. Like, you know, we deal with the same problems down to the core of who we are as a person. But for the most part, I just don't care. So in today's video, we're going to go over just that. We're going to go through all the Target stuff, the DEI stuff, and hear a couple of different perspectives and just chat about this topic of, you know, why there's a lot of Black people that are for all this DEI stuff, and why there's a lot of Black people, admittedly, including myself, who do not like these DEI programs.
So I want to call out what I already think is the reason for Black people not necessarily liking DEI programs. And I think it's because in the ideal situation, no, we wouldn't have them.
Here's something I didn't know until I got into recruitment. There is so much discrimination when it comes to recruitment and hiring. I'll give an example of early on in my career when I realized that discrimination was a real thing in the hiring process. I just started working on a new search. I was looking for mechanical engineers, and I started sending some resumes through of candidates that I thought were a good fit. And basically every single candidate that I sent through that had an Indian looking name or a foreign looking name, the hiring manager just kept rejecting them. And so I asked the hiring manager, I said, what's going on with this? And they basically said, anyone with a name like that's going to require sponsorship, and we're not going to sponsor anybody outside of the US. And I was like, are you sure that they require sponsorship? And they were like, yeah, people with those types of names always do. And this was a VP. This was a really high level person in an organization. And that was the exact moment that I realized that discrimination was extremely real. Now, at that point, I stopped working with the client, but it was very eye-opening for me. And it really just goes to show that even something like your name can really impact whether or not you get hired in an organization.
Without DEI policies, the best employees won't be hired. Because if this country was really a meritocracy, Black women would be running everything. Because if you look at this country, the most educated people are Black women. The most intelligent people are Black women. The hardest working people in this country are Black women. Black women have been discriminated against. They have been taken advantage of because of their work. It's been taken credit of. We see movies like Hidden Figures. Black women are the most intelligent, hardworking, professional, and demure people that we have in this country. And so if we were really a meritocracy, our country would be run by Black women because they are the most competent and the most worthy of merit in this country.